What do you do, Big Crew? It's your boy Savon Thomas back with another episode of Coffee with Friends. We're on season 3 of the Gilmore Girls. This show is starting to get pretty good. I'm starting to enjoy it like a little bit more. Like I was like, as soon as the season ended, I was like, man, I want to start the next season. So I'm excited to be back, joined by Michelle and Amanda to talk about this season. But before we get into the season, as always, how are you guys? What's up with life? How are you? Anything new? Anything going on? How have you been?
Michelle, you can go first.
I am overwhelmed with studying and school. So life is good, but life is stressful. So that's most of my life as of current. So immediately after this, I know I'm gonna have to study some more. So
What
that's
school do
my
you go
life.
to?
UNT.
Oh, nice. Do you
Yeah.
are you like is it only online courses or is it you go to campus?
I have to go. It's campus and online. So I
Oh,
actually go to as of right now, this semester, I'm going to the Frisco campus. It is
okay.
nice. It's very cool. I like it quite a bit.
Oh,
Everything's easy to find. So it's not as gigantic as the Denton campus. So, but yeah, so that's what's happening. Kind of stressed out. Feels like the world is over because I'm just not really good at accounting specifically. So there's that.
nice. Is it 4 years or 2 years or like what kind of program are you doing?
So I have 2 years left.
2 years left.
Mhm. Yeah,
Nice.
that's my
That's
story.
going back to school. We're gonna switch career paths, being accountant, crunch numbers.
No,
It's like a lot of fun.
What you say you going to school for
finance.
yeah, finance, accounting, same thing.
It's
Like,
not the same
like, you know, what do you want to do with your life, Michelle?
What
What
do
do
I
you
want to do? It has nothing to do with what I'm going to school for. I'm sure there's aspects of it. What I actually want to do would be I'd love to own my own wedding venue. Like
Hmm.
that to me is really exciting. Um, and it'd be affordable for people, and it'd be pretty. But obviously owning a business takes a lot of there's a lot of background work with that, and so not anytime soon. Uh, but I know for tomorrow, I'm actually going to help out with a wedding, help out some wedding planners, and just get some intel, some hands-on experience. So, you know, that's what I really want to do. I mean, it does take accounting to own a business as well. So there's that. So I guess that's important. However, I don't like going to school. So there's that.
I couldn't get that. I mean, schools suck for me, so I understand. I think Amanda's the only one here with a degree.
Right.
I
What
still
is your
hate school. I don't know. Information.
Do you use
Some,
your degree at all? Like, has anybody ever asked you, like, hey, what's your degree? Do you use it? Because you work in sales.
yeah, I used to use it,
Or
I guess, when I first graduated. My first job out of college was like relating to my degree. And then after that, I was like, meh, bye.
gotcha. And you're like, I need to
So,
make the big bucks at my job in sales.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. Fun times.
Well, great update, Michelle. Got married, started a new career path.
Yeah.
What about you, Amanda? What's been going on in your world?
Oh, just, living my life. It's been so fun. I feel like I'm just so busy, but like in a really good way. We were in Mexico this week, which was fun. Zach did this like desert race with his dad and his
Nice.
brother. And it was like, I don't know, almost 200 miles in the desert. And he finished, which was amazing because not everybody finished.
Like
And
running? Like,
no, in a UTV.
okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
he did the
Oh,
UTV race, and then his dad or his brother raced a trophy truck. And so,
Nice.
yeah, it was really cool because that was the first time I've been to one of those. And Zach's brother does them all the time. I mean, he's like, that's like his thing. He's really well known in that like world.
That's cool.
Um, so he got first place overall, and that was really cool. But it was awesome because Zach and his dad like were together. Zach was the navigator, I guess. and his dad was driving. And so it was cool because we were waiting at like their pit stops, and it was like they came in quick. We filled them up with gas, and then they took off, and it was just fun times. And then we had some downtime, so we did the whole beach thing. So that was sweet, and then kind of back to reality this week. So yeah.
That's pretty awesome. What part of Mexico?
Like south of Arizona.
Okay.
Hour and a half south, into Mexico.
Nice. And you made it back over? That's crazy.
I did.
I thought you were
Yeah,
at the point.
they let me back in.
They're like, sir, who are you bringing with you? Who is this lady?
Yeah. It was funny because I'm like, anyways. My passport name doesn't match any of my documents anymore because I changed my name.
Yeah.
And so I have to get my passport updated. So I'm just glad that they didn't ask for any other form of ID, because then they would have been very confused, and then I might have stayed in Mexico.
Was that so they didn't give you any pushback there?
No.
Really?
Yeah, no, they were fine.
Interesting. When I went to Canada, coming back into America, they were like the biggest D-bags. Like they were like, what are you doing in Canada? And I was like, bro, I went over there for 1 day. 1 day? Why are you there for 1 day? And I was like, bro, I just literally just went for 1 day. I had to explain like my entire life on why I went to Canada. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to sneak back to the United States. I'm from here. I'm black. Like, there's not many black Americans or black Canada. So it's like, I don't know. Whenever I think now, I've only been out of the country 1 time. So now when I think about the border, I was like, my mind is like, they're just D-bags. They're like, they're not gonna let you back into the area.
I don't think so. I've never had a bad experience at the border. They were just so friendly, but they also knew that people were going in for the race. So, and we were hauling the UTV back. So they're just like, how was the race? And so, but even when I went to Canada, they were fine, I guess. I don't know.
That's not good.
Yeah. Anyways.
Welcome back to the pod. We have Taiwo, Ben Cody, or sorry, Shodi, excuse me. Shodi. Let me get that right. Let me get that right. All right. So back from episode 1, we have Taiwo. Wasn't able to make episode 2, but she's back for episode 3. So Taiwo, any life updates since we last seen you? Anything happen in your life at all?
Oh yeah, I got married. Yes, so that's been exciting. I'm starting a new life, a new journey, but just so thankful for that.
What was that like? What was the experience getting married like?
Whew. I mean, it was fun and good. Actually, I was so blessed to be around family, and just to be able to witness that day. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and just to be around people that loved me and our mentors, our pastors. It was such a holy moment. I don't know. Well, this is me going spiritual, but
let's get into it.
But it was such a holy moment, and we're just so thankful to be examples for our family. And then right after we moved into a new house, so it was like another, journey and life update. But just so thankful for all the blessings. Yeah.
That's awesome. Was it the leading up to the wedding? Was it stress free? It's like
it was not stress free. It was stressful.
Why? I don't understand. Weddings are not supposed to be stressful.
They're not supposed to be, but because there's so many other people that you're working with, like other personalities, and I mean, if it was just like just me and Namdi just eloping, I don't think it would be stressful. But like just having to work with people, is what makes it stressful.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. That's cool. So where you guys are actually, let me not ask where you live because this is a podcast. I don't even ask you where you live now. I want to know like where you guys live, but I guess I'll ask that a different time when I see you. But cool. That's awesome. So now 3 for 3. got married first.
You're
First
next.
Michelle, then Taiwo, and then eventually your boy. So we'll figure it out. But that's awesome. Like I shared this earlier. I shared this last podcast too, but now officially moved into my apartment. I guess so I'm back in the colony, Louisville technically. So, but yeah, life update. Nothing really. My life's kind of just fun, I would say at this point. But cool. So I appreciate everybody joining. I'm excited to talk about season 3 that was the Gilmore Girls. So is there here's what I want to talk about first. How the season starts off, it threw me off. Michelle mentioned it last podcast. I was like, what is she talking about? And then I watched the first episode and I was like, dang, they just shifted gears. You know what? We're putting Luke and Lorelai together. And it was a dream. And I was like, bro, it was a great like little teaser, I feel like. What were you guys' thoughts on how season kicked off, season 3?
I screamed when I saw that. I freaked out first. I was like, wait, what? Hold on a second. And then, actually watching it, I was like, wow, I really enjoyed it. We should go back to that. It was pretty crazy.
I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, talk about just like a curveball. Like I think like at the end of the last season, it was just like, okay, I can get the idea of like Lorelai and Chris doing this, and then all of a sudden, like, bam,
Bam is the word. Yeah. So
yeah, it was. I mean, my favorite character is Luke. So like, I don't know. I'm waiting for them to have their moment. You know what I mean? I feel like this is all building up. Like even this season, I thought at some point that it would, but I did like how they handled Luke's character this season. And we'll talk about each character. But overall, I think for me, like this has been my favorite season so far because I feel like this is a season where actually I'm like, I don't want to say I'm hanging on each episode, but I'm like watching it. I'm like, ooh, what's next? I wonder what happens next, or what goes on here. Or like, you know what I mean? Like the first 2 seasons, I was like, okay, this is good. Like first season, I was like, what is this? Second season, I was like, okay, this is kind of good. Like there's some different points of the plot. But this season, I was like, okay, I understand the character. The storyline is moving. There's drama in there, obviously going on with like Jess and Dean and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, this show is actually getting kind of like it's kind of growing on me. You know what I mean? Like as a first time watcher, not knowing really what to expect from the show, I was like I didn't expect to like it as much as I do, but I do kind of like it now. It's been pretty fun. For me, I guess the biggest storyline for me this season was Rory and Jess, and then obviously their relationship. But it started off with her still dating Dean, right? And so, like, my biggest thing, I feel like Rory did Dean so dirty, right? Like how she handled that situation. I feel like, I mean, she was in the wrong. Like, she was, in my opinion, was in the wrong. And so, my first question to y'all is, should Rory have handled things with Dean differently? If so, how? How would y'all have changed it up?
Absolutely. What? Of course. Duh. How about let go of that relationship and then move on? How about let's not play games? It was really sad to see that kind of happen.
And so quickly, like, I don't know what is going through Dean's mind as like such a young guy. Like, this is his first love. And she just straight up just like moved on to Jess, like, and didn't really tell him anything. So there was like no closure for him. And he had to like find out from like Lorelai that Rory is in love with Jess, or like doesn't want to be with him anymore. And I'm just like, it's so sad. Like if that happened in real life, I would be like crying.
Yeah, mortified. And also like somehow I'm sure you'd probably compare yourself and feel inadequate in some way. And it's like, maybe if you just talk to me, maybe we could leave on good terms, but that sucks. It really does suck. Absolutely.
But I mean, like it's not surprising though. Like because Rory is Lorelai's daughter. Like,
Yeah.
where that's where she will learn all of those things from, like, because this is typical Lorelai that's happening in Rory, and we're a product of what we know. Like when we're in a most vulnerable state when we just resort to what's comfortable for us and what we've seen and what we know. And so I think it's not surprising for me that she acted that way because she's seen Lorelai do that with her relationships. Would it have been nice for her to tell Dean? Yes, but I didn't expect her to. Number one, she's young and she's still trying to figure things out, and then she's raised by the the professional relationship jumper person herself. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lorelai, again, we could jump around too. We don't have to stick on one specific subject, but Lorelai this season too. I don't know. She was weird too. Like just dude to dude to dude. Like there was like multiple guys this season. That she was which we'll touch. I do want to touch on that, but I felt again last season. I feel like Dean was like very whiny, like him like calling her. Like this season, I kind of understand, and like I am not mad on how he handled the situation, like how he in front of everybody just broke up with her. Like part of me was like, as because I feel like I'm like Rory's uncle, and so like part of me kind of felt bad for Rory because but I'm like, you know what, like he's justified. Like I felt so bad for Dean in this whole situation. One, because I just don't like Jess. Like the more I watch the show, I don't like Jess. And
I
so
don't too.
and like you see the contrast of like how Dean treated her for 2.5 years and then how Jess is treating her. And like it's like what like Lorelai talks about it, Dean was the perfect boyfriend, in my opinion. Now I know Amanda is like Dean. She's like Dean was a terrible boyfriend. But like
I never said that.
contrast to at least Jess. I don't know what
I
happens in the
like
next
that
four,
thing.
and I don't know what happens in the next 4 seasons. But in the first 3 seasons, comparative of like who she's dated, Jess and Dean, Dean's been a better boyfriend, in my opinion.
Fully agree with that. Fully agree. It sucks too because I think Amanda mentioned it last season. Like Rory's in a different season of her life, so she has to move on. Which so it makes sense that it's also a TV show. Any any new season there may be a new guy. And there may be she's just transitioning into a new person, becoming a woman, like learning different aspects of herself, what she wants and all that kind of stuff. So it does suck because I feel like I fully agree with you, Savon. I think Dean was a great boyfriend. It is a first boyfriend, but it seems like he really loves her and is just really heartbroken, and we kind of just saw that come out. And when it comes to Jess, I just feel like he's just another guy. You can find a lot of those guys. That's not the guy you need. you know
Man, that's a lot of thought.
I do have a lot. I have
She's sitting there stewing. I can see it on her face.
well, I truly I never liked Jess. Like I've been watching this show since I was a little girl, and I still, like at 30 years old, do not like Jess. And I liked Dean as her first boyfriend, but I didn't like him overall just because I thought he was annoying. But it's also really fun to watch as a viewer, like her go through this, because I feel like it's so relatable. Like every single I feel like maybe not everyone, but like a lot of people do go through like having like a great first boyfriend or, a really great relationship. And then they transition and like they move on with another person that's like probably not the best. And they go down all of these different like, rabbit holes in their life. And so as a viewer, like it's fun to watch her do that because it's so relatable, I think, to a lot of people. But it's also really annoying because, I mean, as an adult, I'm like, don't do that. Like, better. But in the moment, she doesn't, you know, she's still so young.
She is.
Well, I will say I've never had a great first boyfriend, and I plan on having a first boyfriend. So it's not as relatable to me, but I understand as ladies, it's relatable to y'all. But Taiwo, something you want to say?
I did not have a great first boyfriend, so it's not relatable. So that's why I'm like, girl, you had something good going for you. You don't even know. You
Well, she
threw it
didn't know though, but
away.
that's the thing. She didn't know. Like she didn't know what she had.
Yeah, she didn't know what she had
I don't know what you have until it's gone.
until it's
Exactly.
gone.
It makes me kind of sad too, because like, you know, I'm sure that they'll move on and stuff, but I wonder if like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I just wonder if like Rory is gonna feel like something like, oh man, I missed out, or that kind of feeling. I don't know. I'm curious if she's ever gonna care, you know, but then I'm
I
sure.
feel like we're foreshadowing here, Michelle, but anyways, I feel like you're leaning towards like saying something, but you can't because like it's in further seasons. But okay.
I
But
don't remember. I don't remember after this part. I don't remember anything. So
well, in season 3, we do see that though, because like she does feel bad about breaking up with Dean. She goes to his window and like apologizes to him, but she does realize that she had her feelings for Jess were stronger than whatever she had with Dean apparently. And then like you see Dean, which this is my favorite part. Dean moved on, and I'm like, bro,
oh, yeah.
there you go. Don't sit back and wait for Rory to like come back. Like she got mad that he didn't like wait for her. And I'm like, hell no, we ain't waiting for you, Rory. Not no offense, but you're just a basic white girl. Like there's
Oh my
you out there.
So
Like Dean.
is this reminding you of a real life experience?
No, that's funny though. But I was like, because I'm like, bro, Dean. Again, for me, I see the perspective of the show from the guys, from all the guys, like Luke, Richard, even like his perspective on stuff. You know, obviously Dean. I don't really relate to Jess at all, but I see the show more from the guys' perspective than I do the girls, because I feel more like I said, like her uncle, versus like, you know, I am Lorelai or I am Rory. You know what I mean? So like me watching it, I'm a guy watching this, and I'm like, Dean, you need to move on. Like, don't pop up this girl, move on. And he did, and he found him a girl that he wants to marry at 18, which is wild. But I was so happy that Dean moved on, and she was like, I can't believe he moved on. And I'm like, yeah, thank God he did. Thank God he did.
But it's funny that you mentioned that he married at 18. I've always wondered if that was as a result of the hurt that, you know, from Rory breaking up with him. Like, was he truly ready to get married, or was it like I'm gonna get back at Rory and make this work kind of deal? You know, I've always wondered about that.
Nice.
That's interesting. That's a perspective I don't even think I thought about.
Yeah, but I also feel like, well, I can't really say anything. Never mind.
I'm excited for this, like us rewinding to these conversations when like we've watched the entire, when I've seen the entire show, and Amanda, Michelle, and Taiwo can unleash like everything. You know what I mean? Because I appreciate you guys classifying me and not like spoiling, because I find myself wanting to like Google stuff, and that's my nature. Is I want to spoil it for myself, right? Like, because here was a trope throughout the season that I was not mentally prepared for, which was Rory talking about she was ready to have sex with Jess and telling Lorelai that. I was like, no, like again, as her uncle, I was like, what are we doing here? Like, and I get it. Like, she's 17, and then there's still 4 more seasons, so I'm sure there's gonna be an episode where she loses her virginity. But I'm like, am I mentally prepared to watch this? Like, am I mentally prepared to know that she does the deed? Like, I don't know if I am. So part of me wants to Google that. like so I can prepare myself. Is it going to be this season or is it going to be, you know what I mean? So, but I didn't want. I was like, no, let me not find that out. Like, it will happen, but I don't know if I'm mentally prepared to like see Rory. You know, like I'm watching her grow up. Like I saw her 14, now I'm like she's 17. I'm like, bro, but that's my
Actually, so it's just so funny. Like I every time I watch this show, like I try to analyze the psychological behind the scenes of every action because there's this psychological, well, it's not psychological, but it's this general thing about like good girls and bad guys. And Rory being willing to have sex with Jess, I'm like, okay, you know, there's just some guys that like there's something mysterious about them. And it's like at that young age, you wanna chase curiosity over stability.
crazy.
You know what I mean? Like because Dean was, you know, stable, you know, he bought her a car, he had a job, everything. Like it was predictable. So there's nothing fun about that. Like there's no like spontaneous, you know, like there's nothing,
Yeah.
you know, you already know everything about him. But with Jess, she's craving that, oh my gosh, what's next behind this? Every wall, every layer that she peels off, she's like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And I think that's what's driving her towards Jess more and more. And because of her personality, she loves clues, she loves solving, you know, and do all those things. So I feel like that's what's happening.
I feel like too, typically, like, you know, that whole dynamic too is something that, you know, I'm a good girl, there's a bad guy, I want to fix that guy, you know.
Mhm.
I want to be the reason why he becomes
Mhm.
a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of see maybe aspects of that too from time to time throughout the seasons. But yeah, I fully agree with that.
Hmm.
I hate
I've
Jess.
done that. I've done that before. I have done it, and yeah, it's just
Really?
yeah, I have. So I relate with that. You know, it's just you know, just something mysterious and fun about this person. You know, I'm like, I want to do all the dangerous things with this person, but the other guy is so stable. He's so boring. I'm like, oh, I already know everything about you. Get away from me.
That's funny. I do have a little pivot of a question. So since all of y'all married, you know, all of y'all a little bit older, could you have imagined being married at 18 years old?
No.
Do you think you could have done it? Like,
Never. I would not have survived.
I fully agree with that. I don't think I think like you
even
know
if you met your current significant other, your current husband, right? You couldn't imagine being married to them at 18 years old and going through everything you went through?
Nope.
No.
no, because you know as an 18-year-old kid you don't know what goes on in the world, you don't know how the world works, you know, you barely understand who you are, let alone you know just how to function out there in the world. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Could I see, like, even if it was with my husband now, that we've been dating for years, like, I don't think I would ever say, oh, let's, you know, hey, let's get married at 18. I think that would never be a thought. However, being an 18-year-old girl, you do fantasize about, oh, my future, this is what it's gonna look like, and you know, it's gonna be with this person or whatever, right? But I don't know if you really can truly comprehend the ins and outs and all the things that go into relationships and the world and how things function and you know just all of that. There's so much nuance behind it. There's no way. There's just no way. I don't
Mm-mm.
think.
I needed way more of Jesus back then.
Yeah.
Wherever marriage worked when I was 18. So.
That is surreal. I mean, I was so naive. Like I was so naive. I think everything I've gone through from 18 up till now has prepared me for where I'm at this moment. If I didn't go through it, I don't think I would have learned all the lessons and it would have shaped me into who I am. So at 18, I was very naive. I didn't even know nothing about nothing. So it would have been crazy to even imagine that I'll be married. No.
I also wonder, being that young and getting married that young, do you regret it years later? Or is it going to be harder? Is it going to be harder for you being so young and not really uh, able to comprehend a lot of things, or not even really knowing yourself very well, let alone knowing another person? Do you think you might regret it? Or do you think it's just going to be harder for people who do get married that young as they go through their marriage?
I don't know. I don't have any examples around me that
Right.
I
I
can.
don't know. I do think that like in a coming season, like you would get more insight into what Dean is feeling. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That feels good.
Y'all love. I feel like y'all can't just help yourself. You have to like give something. Y'all like I have to get something from these other seasons because the other seasons speak so much to the story. I do appreciate it though, but I do feel like their high school years went so fast. Like I don't know, like this show, in my like opinion, like moves very quickly. Because I'm like, what month are we in? Then you have a Thanksgiving episode. Then you're like, okay, we're in November, and then it's like, okay, now Rory's graduating, and I'm like, what happened? Like we're like this went so fast. In my opinion, I don't know. The show moves through the years. I feel like very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So. Well, cool. So we talked about Rory and Jess. We talked a little bit more about Rory and Dean versus Rory and Jess. So you guys mentioned you don't really like Jess, but like, do you guys feel bad for Jess at all? Like, no, damn, okay. But
No
I
did
feel
remorse.
bad for him in some ways.
that's what I'm saying. So like, as much as I don't like him, I still kind of feel bad for him because one
Yes.
doesn't know his dad until his dad shows up
Yes.
at the very
Yes.
end, right?
Yeah.
His mom's a basket case apparently, based on what he says.
Yeah.
He's living in a world he doesn't really know. He doesn't know what the hell he wants to do with his life. He has this
Yeah.
girl that he likes that whatever, but he doesn't know how to like. He's never been taught to like deal with his feelings and situations. So you have a good example of that. So like everything he does, I'm like, bro, that's a dumb decision. But I kind of also like understand because I'm like he has
Yeah.
no similar to Rory. Like you have no good example of like how to deal with that.
Nope.
Like him not explaining
Yeah.
to Rory like he's dropping it. He failed out of school. Like what? Just tell her that she will listen to you. But for some reason he like I can't tell her that. Or the whole like he got in a fight with a duck or a goose or whatever. He had a black guy. And he's like, I'm not gonna tell her I have a guy black. And she's like, did you fight with Dean? And he's like, okay, well now I have to be macho. I'm like, no, I didn't fight with Dean, but I'm not gonna tell you what actually went down. I'm like, bro, just communicate. Like if he was just better at communication,
Yes.
he'd be way better of a boyfriend than what he's showing. But I guess he's just never had that example.
Yeah. But that's
So
back to how he was raised,
Mhm.
like where do you learn how to communicate? It's from the people you spend the most time with. And he's a fighter, not a communicator. He likes to fight to get his point across. And so
And
I
it still doesn't
honestly,
come across.
it still doesn't come
It
across.
doesn't
But
work.
I know, but that's just where it comes from. No
I
example.
feel a little bad for him, but I feel like he also just, this is who I am and it is what it is. He doesn't really care enough to care for himself either.
That.
So,
Yes, what you said. Like, I do feel bad for him, but also like if he wanted to change and be a better person, I feel like he could. He's so smart. He's read so many books to like go off of. I mean, but at the end of the day, he's gonna be the guy that wears a leather jacket to the beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. I really like that.
that's funny.
But you guys, isn't it funny to think how alike he is with Luke?
It
What you mean?
is.
Also,
They're pretty
Have
similar.
you guys thought about that? Like,
so what do you can you dive more into that? What do you mean by that?
so Luke and Jess are similar in terms of their communication styles, actually. Um, because Luke doesn't really communicate if you think about it. And this is why Lorelai gets so frustrated every time she goes there for coffee, because like he just acts. He's like a passive aggressive person. It's like he acts as opposed to actually saying what he's feeling. He just acted out. And I feel like for me, I was like, no wonder you and Jess are related, because literally you guys, I love that the writer of the story did that, because it makes it almost like real life, because you're like, oh, blood is thicker. Obviously you guys are related because you guys grew up in the same household, and then you have the same communication styles, and I just feel like they're real, and they don't really talk to people. The only, because if you remember at the beginning of the show, and not they didn't really like Luke at in the town. Like everyone was always complaining about him and saying different things about, the same with Jess. You know what I mean? So I feel like I love that the writer of the story did that, because it made the story look like it's real life, like it's happening, you know? So
That's good. I like that. I like that. That's a good thought. What was it? You said something that I wanted to touch on, but it's just fairy dust. I forgot. You might have, huh?
Was it about Luke?
No, but Luke's my boy though, so I can talk about my boy Luke. We'll get to Luke though. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I did. What I did want to ask about is, do we see more of Jimmy and his wife in the next seasons? No, that was just that was it. You can tell me, yeah, guys. Like, it's not you're not ruining
Amanda,
anything.
like, should I tell
Okay.
you?
I don't know.
Everybody's like, you don't want to tell me what happens. I just want to know if there's more of Jimmy, and so that's the end of Jess. Wow,
Yep.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like the way they wrote him off.
That's
If
interesting.
if that's the end of like Jess like throughout the show, I don't know if I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's
One thing that I want
Amanda
to
wants
say.
to say, Amanda, I feel like you want to say something.
I know. Just go
No,
I just
no. What I'm gonna say though is that they reuse some actors as different characters, and I love that, because you asked if like they ever came back in the show, and like technically they do, just as different people.
Gotcha. Okay.
Not Jimmy, but the girlfriend.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, there's so many like loose ends that don't get tied up in the show. They kind of just literally annoys me just a little bit. Like one of them, I wrote it down. Let me look at my notes real quick. I wrote it down. Why didn't they show the prom? Did I miss that?
Oh yeah.
They talked about this prom the whole year, both proms, Chilton's prom and the other, I don't know the high school's name. I guess maybe, but they talk about those two proms. Like she's like, I'm gonna get you a ticket, get you a dress, and then just because Jess couldn't go, Roy didn't go, so therefore they didn't show it. I was like, what is this? Like, I wanted to see Lane and Dave Rogalski at freaking prom. Like, I wanted to see that.
Oh my god,
Oh my gosh, I love them.
I love them so much.
You want to
I
talk
love
about?
them.
You want to talk about Dave and Lane? I was gonna say
Can
that.
we please?
We're talking
I
about right
love
now.
them so much.
I just think it's so cute how he like tries everything that he can to like, make it work for Lane to like cover up, that they like each other with her family.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Ride or die is what it seems like. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. And that was Lane's first boyfriend, though, right? Too, like that was her first.
Does the other guy
Well, I guess
count?
the Asian dude, Henry Cho, whatever his name was.
Yeah, I don't think he counts because I don't think they ever actually went on a date, right? They just
No,
talked.
they snuck around. They snuck around for a little bit.
I like him too, but man, yeah, they just kind of let him go. But
So what y'all like about Dave and Lane? What do you like about Dave? Because Lane's funny to me. Like she loves
It's hilarious.
and she's just like this little Korean girl that like has to like figure out like how to make her mom happy, and then actually live like a normal lifestyle.
It's hilarious.
My absolute favorite character.
I just think like he's so like sweet and smart, and like he like likes the music like she does, and I feel like I've always been a fan of Adam Brody, so that, you know.
Have you seen him in the show Startup? Have you seen the show Startup?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, there's a show Startup. That's like literally I saw his face and I was like, why do I know this guy? And I looked him up and I was like, oh, it's the guy from the show Startup, which is it's a good show. Recommend the review on it, but good show.
When you think of Adam Brody, you think of that and you don't think of the OC.
I didn't watch those here.
Mm.
I'm sorry. This is outside of Dawson's Creek. This is the second show I've seen. Drama, like teen drama. I'm not a teen drama guy. I guess take that back because I do like what's the show on Netflix where the Outer Banks. I love the Outer Banks. That's also a teen.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different because it talks about like gold and hunting, but this is like just straight drama, like Dawson's Creek. So, anyways, didn't mean to pivot. So, but I love Dave too because like you guys said, like the fact that he goes out of his way to like pacify Mrs. Kim, you know, and then like help out his girlfriend. Like he's like, bro, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that the band doesn't know what's going on, your mom doesn't know what's going on. I'm like, this is a good dude, bro. Like, and then he's a Christian, and he's like singing all these Christian hymns with the mom, and I'm like, and it was funny too. Like he came back to Mrs. Kim, he was like, I read the Bible in one day.
He read the whole Bible.
And I was like, bro, I was like, bro, that's a task. That's a long, like you read the whole Bible in one day.
He went through numbers, guys. That's hard.
Yeah, exactly. Son of this, son of that, son of whatever.
Yeah.
Not son of that.
Talking about like the dimensions of the Ark of the Covenant. This right. He read through all that in one night. You know, like that was crazy to me. You know, but that's also sorry, but that's also something that I felt was weird. Was we have this build up of Mrs. Kim being this totalitarian, you know, authority figure, and then her daughter goes and gets drunk and tells her, I'm dating a non-Korean boy. I had a cold beer and I'm drunk. Then she said I'm drunk. She said I drunk beer. And that she's going to go to prom with this guy. And then you just, like, you would think that she goes off in the deep end, but she doesn't. She plays it cool. Like, I was like, what is this? That didn't sit right with me. I'm like, how are you going to build this character up to be this authoritarian figure? And then when the one thing she does is actually bad, she does get punished 2 months or whatever. But I'm like, bro, that wasn't like, I don't know. Thoughts? You might want.
I feel like silence is a lot scarier than the screaming and yelling. You know, when you have a parent that is very like, this is how things are done. If you don't do it this way, you get in trouble. And is very Mrs. Kim. When you do confess or when they figure out that you've done something wrong, you do have the expectation, oh my gosh, I'm going to regret it forever. They're going to scream and yell at me. Oh no, you know, it's going to be horrible. But I think that maybe, I don't know. I think that silence is a lot scarier because you don't know what your parent is thinking. And I'm sure, you know, she's just like kind of churning through her own head thinking like, you know, how am I going to deal with this situation? And, you know, I don't want her to turn into Lorelai, you know, which seems to be a running joke. And so like, yeah, I think like, I understand what you're saying. I don't know if I fully agree. I think that, yeah, silence is scarier when it comes to parents and you're like a kid. That's terrifying. No. If I did something wrong and my parents didn't talk to me, I'd be like, oh my God, the world is over. I'm in trouble forever. That's the end of the story. And I hate everything. You know, they would just be bad. So.
Anybody else thoughts, Amanda, Tawa?
So I think I agree with what Michelle said. And I think that she probably is like shocked and trying to like process her feelings. But there's, like Michelle said, there's a pain that's like there's sometimes parents feel so much pain about, oh, after everything I did to prevent this from happening, it finally happens. And then there's this pain that just cannot be communicated with words. It's just like, okay, and I mean, from her perspective, which I'm not saying she's right, but I'm just like, okay, I did everything I can to make sure this doesn't happen. And then it happens. Like, I birthed you. I sacrificed so much for you. I did all of that. And then you went on and did this. It's like, I think from her, I think she was just so hurt and she couldn't even communicate it. And I feel like that's what the writer of the story was trying to communicate to us, like the level of her pain, compared to the sacrifice that she's made.
Gotcha.
And I'm saying this because my parents are like that. Most of my grandparents are like that. Like, oh, after everything I did for you, you're gonna turn out this way. So.
Nice. Real quick, Amanda, is that the sunset like that's on your like face and skin? It's like red, and I'm like, what the heck's on her face?
It's a sunset right outside my office. I know it's almost done though. I even closed
That's
It's
beautiful.
so pretty though.
little section of my
Yeah.
building that's like open, and I can't dodge it. So
Aw.
Gotcha. Well, cool. So one last thing I want to touch about in Roy's life is we talked about Dean, talked about Jess. I love the fact that they had them fight. That was my favorite scene. I was like,
Yeah.
we've been building up to this fight. They've been talking about fighting, and like the fact that they actually did it, I was like, thank you.
Finally.
Like, I was like, finally, like, and just something in me was like, thank you. They actually fought. I appreciate this.
Oh man.
That was my thought.
something like a teenage boy fight.
Yeah.
It was perfect. I feel like that
They
scene
were
was
just
perfect.
throwing each other.
But before we move on to Lorelai, I have a couple of notes that I thought were pretty funny. So, am I a nerd for liking them doing trivia at the dinner table? You remember when Rory went over to that one guy's house? That was
No.
kids, and they were like doing trivia, like at the table.
Got the
I
perfect
thought that was
family.
fascinating. I was like, I will have fun doing this. Like, I'm like, bro, you're stimulating me. Like, I don't know, I just like stuff like that. Am I a nerd for liking that?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not. I don't think you're a nerd for that.
No, you're a geek.
Well, it depends on the girl. Oh, I don't know. You might be in some
It's a
circles.
little nerdy, but I like it too. Like, it's fun. I mean, I would know.
Well,
the answer.
you might be in some circle.
In some circles, you might be.
Yeah. And then also I love Dave's band members. And my favorite scene of them was they're rewriting the Christian hymns to like make it fit. He's like, what is this? He's like, what do you say? I thought it was like a wall. It was like, what is this supposed to be? He's like a wall. I was like, this doesn't make sense. Let's rewrite this. And so that scene made me laugh. I don't know. There's so many like small scenes in the show that I like see, and I'm like, I literally take notes. So I'm like, this is hilarious. Also, no, I don't know if you get. I don't know if you're gonna say something, but also the only gay men who work at the hotel, like Michelle, Toppin, is the only two guys I've seen work at this hotel, both gay, and I was like,
There's like also like the chefs back there.
I was like, is this a trope that like only gay men are people working at the hotels?
Maybe
like,
at that time, during the time when the movie was, you also have to think about that time. How many years ago was this?
I don't know.
early
Yeah.
2000s, I think. So either
It
late
was like 2000, like 2000 and
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
I was like, bro, I can never work for a hotel apparently because I'm.
I don't want to say
It's gonna be
stuff because
assumed
I
that I'm
know
a
where
gay
you're
guy.
gonna play this. So
I didn't want to get
And also I found it weird that the I forgot the Puff girl's name with the red hair, but she calls
Oh,
it
Frank.
Francine.
Francine. She calls it this riff. First of all, Paris. She like anyways. If she's your best friend, trust your best friend. But I don't want to go. We can talk about that. But Francine, so she shows up twice now, calls this drama between Paris and Rory. Then we never see her the rest of the season. At least I didn't see her. Did y'all see her the rest of the season? I literally after the episode where with the whole like sword fighting thing. I don't remember seeing Francine ever again in that season. Like not in retribution, nothing.
I don't think so either. I think that was it.
What was the point? Like other than just creating drama, like what was the point of having that?
Yeah, creating drama. She's the mean girl in the group. You know, it's high school. What'd you expect?
But it's crazy because like they had her from the beginning, like with the whole like Senate or whatever class, whatever that was called. Yeah, exactly. And then like she's like in there, and then as soon as that's done, it just gets nice. There's little things about the show that I'm like, why? Like keep this like close the gap. Like don't just leave it on a cliffhanger for me. You know what I mean? Like the fact that's why I want to ask about.
I don't know.
That's why I want to ask about Jess because I was like, is this just the end of that? That was just the end of Jess. Like he calls her, doesn't say nothing, and then hangs up. You know what I mean? And don't tell me anything, but still, like that was like, bro, what are we doing here? So, any comments? Any additional fun things about the season that you guys like? I can keep rolling, but I'll leave the floor and not just dominate the conversation. If nothing, I'll keep going.
I like when you keep rolling because then it makes me remember. It makes me think.
It's hard to. I'm gonna be real. It's hard to remember every single episode and what happens. The first season, I took notes. I did not take notes for the second or the third, and I think I might have to do it again because I keep forgetting.
For me, it's just fun to like write out little things. I watch the show and I have like little funny thoughts, like just pop up in my head. And I'm like, bro, I'm talking about that on the podcast. Like this is one that I want to talk about because you mentioned that that Jess was passive aggressive. What you said, Tyler? Somebody said, I think it was Tyler, that Jess is passive aggressive, that Luke is passive aggressive. But to me, the most annoying man in the show, the most passive aggressive guy in the show is Jackson.
Not Jackson.
It is Jackson. Jackson makes, I don't know, he annoys me because like I'm like, bro, what are you always mad about? Like when Rory was planning Lorelei's birthday party, and he comes up to Rory and he's like, why didn't you invite my wife? She's a world-renowned chef. I'm like, she's 17. Why are you yelling at this girl? And he's like, I do vegetables. Why am I not invited to this either? I'm like, Jackson.
I actually love Jackson.
Jackson's great.
Jackson's annoying to me. He annoys me. I don't know. This show there's little things this show annoys me. Jackson's one of them. So I'm like, bro, what are you complaining about all the time for?
I don't think Jackson is the most passive aggressive. I think if anybody's passive aggressive, it is, gosh, what's his name? I keep forgetting. Who is he? He's the old man.
Taylor?
Oh,
Taylor. I despise Taylor with a fiery passion. Okay. Mark my words. He's passive aggressive. He's so annoying and wants to fight with everybody. Why? What is the point? Because you want like this Taylor kingdom over here and no.
He has all the power.
Exactly.
It's just so annoying.
To make sure that he has all of the power in Stars Hollow.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Nah, Jackson
gets annoying for sure sometimes.
And then what was it? When it was funny too. This was not as passive aggressive, but it was funny to me when like Suki accidentally flirts with a guy and he thinks it's a date.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like going like around in a circle trying to explain it to him. And then he's like, "You cheated on me!" And like, I was like, I laughed so hard because I'm like, of course he jumped to that conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, anyways.
That one was funny. That one was super funny. I think my favorite characters as of this current moment are like Suki, still Lane. I think that might be it.
My favorite. Oh, go ahead, Tawa. Who's your favorite characters are?
I said Suki, same for me too. Like they bring the humor because we already know Lorelai is funny, but Suki and Elaine, they have a different type of funny that makes it even more interesting. So especially Suki, like she's just yeah,
like a little fireball.
Yeah, she would be my friend in real life.
Yeah, my favorite characters so far are obviously Luke. Luke's my favorite character. My favorite main character. Second favorite character is Kirk. And like literally, I wrote my notes.
Oh no, I
wrote my notes. I was like, what doesn't Kirk do? He literally is every job. Like every single job, he's like, yeah, I'm doing this now. He was a mailman at one point, and then he was like,
Jack of all trades.
like he does everything, literally everything. Every single episode is doing something new, and I'm like, what doesn't Kirk do in this
It's
freaking
a hustle.
town?
They hustle.
He was checking for
Like,
it was
what
checking
if
for
it-
mold. Checking for mold with
Yeah.
the fly in. Like I'm like, bro, what does Kirk not do? You know, he just pops up randomly. He's always like just this nerdy guy that's there. I don't know.
What about the lady that teaches the dance? What's her
the
name?
vet?
Is it
Yeah.
Beth?
Patty.
Is it the best? No, Patty. Yeah,
Patty.
Oh, sorry,
Miss
my
Patty.
bad.
Miss Patty.
I mean, no.
I mean, I wish they'd given her more things to do because she's funny too.
She has her little moments of funny for sure. I
Mhm.
don't like Babette. Babette is just as annoying, I feel like, as Jackson is.
so,
Aw.
so season three, the only like girl that I like, so I'm like, this is my favorite character. Weirdly, is Paris. Like Paris makes me mad.
Yeah.
It makes me mad because like how little things can bother her a little bit, but like just her humor, her wit is so funny to me. Like I enjoy it. Like again, that's why it annoyed me that the one rift between her and Rory was caused by the Puff Girl. So I'm like, this is, you called her your best friend. Like if this is your best friend, like talk it out. Like don't just show up, you know. But she's like, just the way she goes about things is just so like black and white, you know. It's just like, and then she just makes these statements of just like she kind of circles around and she just says it. And I'm like, you can have more tact there, but okay, you know.
It's so funny. Like, I love Paris, and I think it's in one of the episodes, like they were like she was scaring everybody because she's so intense. And I think like Lorelai was like, Rory, run, like she's coming after you, you know? And I'm like, that's pretty accurate because I would run from her too, because she's just way too intense for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, Paris. I like Paris. She's funny. Like, but what's weird though too is her like. I found it weird that she's dating a dude in college. Like that was to me like how, because how is she 18 or is she 17? Is she same age as Rory?
But she
I
acts so mature for her age though.
I get it,
Yes.
but like still the dynamic of her dating a guy in college was like weird for me because I'm like, she's underage. This guy's in college. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of sus. Like I know it happens all the time. Like I mean, I was in college and
It
with
happens,
girls from high
especially in
school.
small towns.
Yeah, especially I mean, it happens. But I'm like, no, I feel like their age difference is like maybe 1 or 2 years. But still, it
Yeah,
just
I
felt
think
it
I think
felt
it'd be
weird.
different if it was like he was a million, you know,
It just
and
it just
young.
it just felt weird. But like speaking of that, like when she just came on to Rory and was like, I had sex with Jamie. And then I was like, damn, he's going and say that. And then funny too, when she was on stage looking all disheveled and like I thought she was going to say that she was pregnant. Well, I like not the whole Harbor situation. Like I thought again that the time moved so fast. So I didn't know like the time difference between like the conversation and like her whatever. But I thought she was gonna be like, I'm pregnant and I'm not going to college. And it was gonna be like the reverse of like Rory and Lorelai's situation where like Rory says, you know, and then Paris gets pregnant. So that was my thought process. But then she was like, I didn't get into Harvard. But yeah.
That would have been an interesting storyline.
It would be. Yeah. I think that whole debate, it really makes me kind of sad that that's how it went because it's like on TV or debate the whatever it was. You know, it was on TV. She looked just disheveled, poor girl. Like, but if you think about it from her perspective, it's like, yeah, if I had a brain like Paris's, I think, I have high expectations for myself and I don't meet those things, it's gonna ruin my whole life. And so I can understand where she's coming from, but man, I also kind of agree. I wasn't sure what she was gonna say. I don't think I thought, oh, she's pregnant. I don't know. I guess I just assumed that after they had sex, like he broke up with her or something, you know, or something just as damaging, you know. I don't think I expected it to be college, but it still made sense.
Yeah. So just kind of push the conversation forward. I know we've been talking for a little bit now. Couple more questions, and then we'll talk about Lorelai. We wrap up. But fun questions. So the baby shower scene, it was so interesting to me because I've only ever been to one baby shower. Is that what it's like all the time? Like, and do y'all enjoy baby showers? Like, how many of y'all going to? And y'all enjoy like the little games and stuff that they do?
I mean, no, I've gone to a lot, but like I don't enjoy it. I'm like, what is this? Why do I need to know the baby poops? Like,
Yeah, I've been to quite a few baby showers, and the games are just like I've done them once, and I don't need to ever do them again.
exactly.
I think that it was pretty funny though. Like, you know, their experience at the baby shower was just I'm not I love babies, don't get me wrong.
I love babies.
Baby
too.
showers are not as cracked up, like they're just not that they're not that fun.
Gotcha.
Give me some food, give the baby some presents, and I'll be fine. Let's hang out, watch some TV, let's just chill. We don't need to do a whole thing.
That's funny. And then
It's funny because
no, go ahead. Sorry. Let me
it's funny because the way so in back home, there's really not anything called baby showers, but when the baby is born, there's a whole party, and it's a whole party. It's not like you play games that's baby themed. You actually play music, dance, have fun. Just like a wedding, but you're celebrating a baby.
That's a good idea. My
I
whole
like
party.
that way more.
But that's so. Second question was the 24-hour dance-a-thon. I thought that was pretty fun.
That was
No, go ahead. You can talk about it. But what prize? What would y'all do that? And what prize would it take for you to do it? Like
it would take more than a trophy. I will say that. But like, how fun, like what a cool idea that you live in this like little small town and you do things like a 24-hour like dance-a-thon. I mean, that is so cute. I would do it for like $1,000.
$1,000, yeah. Money.
Or like Chick-fil-A for a year,
Food,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Those are good
For
ideas.
the cause.
Those are good ideas. I think I would do it for a trophy, just for me, because I think one time I do it for a trophy. Moving forward, I'll be okay, any cash. But I think for the first time, because it's such a fun, like you said, such a fun idea. I think that's why I love like the little small town vibes. Because it's like stuff like that, like you said, man. I'm like, I don't know. I would get excited for like the ice cream shop that Taylor proposed. I was like, bro, that's a great idea. Like, why not open
Yeah.
it? You know what I mean? Like, I would go to that.
And I think it's so funny that she's doing it just to beat Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and Kirk, so like I'm gonna win. Like that's his thing, which is
Yeah.
his dance-a-thon thing. And he kind of
So
yeah. So that's cool. All right, so we'll wrap up with Lorelai. So here's my biggest note about Lorelai that I wrote is I love Lorelai when she's being a mom to Rory, but she pisses me off in just her regular like when she acts like a child. She pisses me off. I'm like, grow up. Like literally, like I'm like literally, that's literally my fault. Every time she goes into like this childlike state where she doesn't get her way, like I feel like every Friday dinner with Richard and Emily, she storms out or she gets up from the table and leaves. Right? I swear, as in my mind, every single Friday night she gets up and goes outside. And that like, and then the whole like Yale situation where Richard, wants her to like. I felt like you guys can tell me what your thoughts on how Richard handled this. But outside of like forcing Rory to go to the interview, I feel like Richard did the right thing with the introduction to Yale. I feel like there's nothing wrong with the way he went about it because he knew that Lorelai wants nothing to do with her family lineage, and like so, I feel like he did nothing wrong in that situation other than surprise interview. Like if he would like Rory said, like if you would have told me, I would have done it because you asked me to. I feel like that's what he should have done versus like the way he handled that. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with him like going about the Yale situation. What are y'all's thoughts on Lorelai this season, and then specifically on what happened at Yale?
I think like I don't like that he did it because he took it like, they were caught off guard. I think I would have appreciated him like having maybe a one-on-one conversation with Lorelai, like, hey, I understand I'm gonna do this, or it's, you know, like up to her, but at least like letting her know that maybe he's not doing it like to just betray her or to be a butthead. I think that would have been fine. And then Lorelai just not take it personal, you know.
Do you think that would happen though? Realistically, do you think that would happen?
That she wouldn't take it personal?
Yeah, or she wouldn't even allow it to happen.
I think that if Rory said that she wanted to, then Lorelai would, because she would understand that Rory wants to go to Yale. I think so.
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
think
but
she would
I
still
love
fight
Lorelai.
about it.
I do. I feel like she does the best that she can. She's got her like attitude and how she handles things. Like, yeah, it could be annoying and yeah, she could be childish, but like I love her. I don't know.
My bad for dissing your favorite character, man. I'm sorry.
So,
Michelle, your thoughts?
Um, I don't necessarily agree with him not communicating his intentions. I think things would have been maybe better if he communicated his intentions, you know. I don't see anything else wrong. And, you know, with that, um, especially knowing Rory, she's the kind of kid that likes to be prepared for that kind of stuff. It just makes sense. Like, don't spring that kind of stuff on her. And then like if he did communicate, like, do I think that Lorelai wouldn't have some kind of conniption about it? No, I think she would. I think anything that comes from her parents is always a negative thing.
In her
You know,
mind.
exactly. Right. Not actually, not every time, you know. But I do think that they're just trying to get to me through you, you know, that kind of perspective. And it's like, well, you know, okay, sure, maybe there has been a few instances, sure, you know, but I think that this thing is specifically for Rory. Now, her decision may or may not change, but let's find out. Like, this isn't gonna kill you, you know, like this isn't life or death. You know, I'm not talking to your kid about how horrible of a child you were, you know, like it's just not the same. So I think that I think that anything that Emily and Richard say or do, it's always going to be perceived from Lorelai as a negative thing. Just because, you know, like I said before, it just feels like every time they go back into this house, she's still this child, you know, and it's still back to where she screwed up at. It's back to normal, you know, and no one wants to grow and change and move on. We're still stuck in the past, even though the present is moving a lot quicker, you know.
Yeah. It goes back to the control thing she said too. Like she never wants to feel like her parents have any control because she felt that her entire life. And that's kind of like the why she kind of reacts that way, why she pays them back and cancels Friday night dinner, which I was very sad.
Question about that.
Huh?
Do you think that her action to pay them back was malicious? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I was really thrown off.
Well, I'll let the Gilmore Girls expert answer the question first.
Let's go.
Kenyon?
no. I don't think so. Like if I had a loan from my parents that with like literally the initial agreement was she would pay them back, then like I don't see the problem with actually paying them back. I mean, I think like, you know, yeah, no.
Again, same as you. I don't think it was malicious, but I did think that welcome back, Tyler. She wanted to end it. Like she was like, I'm done with you. I guess what it felt like was it was a move to be like, I'm done with you guys. Like this is me paying it back. that was back in the car. She's like I'm done with you guys. I don't want to see you ever again. That's what it felt like. You know what I mean? Like I pay you back, and then like I understood where Emily came from because she's like so basically because in her mind, Lorelai is not going to do anything to see them without the stipulation. So it's like
Right.
her paying her back was like the end of like relationship building, everything they're trying to like rebuild all these different things. So I don't think it was malicious to pay them back, but I do think it was kind of like her like I'm finally done with these guys. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of my
But
thought.
I also don't think like there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, for her, there's so much like drama and like just negativity that comes with these like Friday night dinners that like we don't have to have these stipulations in place to have a relationship. And I think for Lorelai, it's just kind of like she's always going to have that like hanging over her head if she has like, like if she has to do it. So like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with like wanting to end the, Friday night dinner stipulation or paying them back. I think like they probably could have handled it like adults though.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes I wonder though if like I'm torn between two different thoughts. So I don't think that Emily's reaction was necessary. I think I don't know. I'm torn. I don't think there was a problem with Lorelai paying them back. I think that's totally fine, right? Especially it's a loan. I don't want it anymore. Like I'm trying to get rid of it. I don't want to be indebted to my parents. Um, you know, but I think part of me also wonders like, well, it seems like this is the only way you guys are going to have a relationship because you didn't show up before. So what makes me think, if I was Emily, what makes me think that you're going to show up now if there is no stipulation, is are you going to willingly want to come over? Is it just going to be like Easter and Christmas, like, or Thanksgiving? Is it only going to be a holiday thing or is it going to be something more? But then it also kind of makes me think too, well, if we don't have a relationship, just because you are my family doesn't necessarily mean you're obligated to my time. So I'm kind of torn in two different places. I don't know if that makes sense.
But the thing is, too, again, we already talked about it. It goes back to her not wanting her parents' control in her life. But like her mom was like, we don't want your like. It was a loan per se, but it wasn't really a loan. Like they were like, we'll just pay. Like they were cool with paying. Like even with Rory going to Yale, they're like, we'll just pay for you. She's like, no, I want to pay it back, which is fine if that was what you want to do. But it's like they are your parents. But we do see like the flashback episode where like you kind of see like here's kind of why she's this way and you get to see like Richard and Emily from that perspective and how they treated her. So I get again, not to bash Amanda's favorite character. I get why Lorelai is this way, but again, part of me is like, bro, she's sometimes just a little bit childish. A lot of times, except when she's in mom mode. When she's in mom mode, she's so attentive to Rory. Like when she was talking, like she's conversation. Like I'm like, bro, she's such a good mom. But then and even like business wise, she does great at her job. Like she's a great manager of a hotel. It's just the moments when she's so childish. It just pisses me off.
When she's trying to have it's like when she's having relationship with people. Yeah. If it's not her job and it's not her daughter, for the most part, she lacks that ability to be intentional and like be able to. She's just not good at it, and it seems like she couldn't care less.
Oh, man, you have any last thoughts on this? No. Okay.
No.
You feel free to share, man. Don't hold back.
I hate all of you for hating my.
I know. This is your favorite character in the show, so
sorry. No shots.
But no. So I do want to talk about the guys in Lorelai's life this season, which it was obviously Christopher in that situation. Then she cries about like not having Christopher in her life, like how Christopher's gonna go be with this girl and live the life that I was supposed to live. Boo hoo. I felt bad for her, but I didn't at the same time.
Yeah.
Second one, this dude Alex, it comes out of nowhere, right? This pissed me off too. This was another bow that they didn't finish up. Maybe it's again in the other seasons, Alex will come back, but like he shows up in the season for like 2 episodes. They go on dates, and then he just gets talked about, like if they're still dating, but then they're not really. Like she's just like, oh yeah, I've been seeing this guy, but like he doesn't really show up. Again, maybe in the other seasons he does. As right now, he's just a guy that's in the background, and I'm like, why did y'all even introduce us to this guy? Maybe he's not going to be a character within the show that's like really for real. You know what I mean?
Didn't you say that like they didn't have a like strong connection or something? Or
no,
maybe
that
like
was the guy they went that the mom introduced her to. That was the guy at the auction. So there was a guy at the auction. So that's I guess multiple.
Oh, yeah.
There was a guy at the auction she dated. She went on one date with. Said she was gonna go on a second date, and the mom Emily was like, "You gotta go on the second date, probably, you know."
Yeah.
No, Alex was the guy that Suki.
He's
Suki
the
was talking to
swoopy hair dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know which one that.
Yeah.
I,
So and then she dated him, but then Max Medina shows back up. I was like,
hello.
I'm mad about it, bro. I'm mad about
I was
it.
like,
Leave him alone.
are we kidding? Like, what is going? Why is Max back? Like, I thought we were done with Max. I thought we were done. And I assume we are based off his reaction. And I applaud him because he was so like outside of the first kiss, them kiss each other. He was like, you know what? You had your shot. You can't just come back and spin the block. Like this ain't happening. You had your shot. I know I'm still attracted to you and I want to, still be with you. But no. Like I respected him for telling her no, putting the little chairs between them and everything. I was like, you're a good dude, Max. She can't like don't let her spin the block on you.
Yeah.
Just be like, well, I want to date you again, but you told me no, you don't want to marry me. So I'm not gonna have to marry, but I'm gonna have to, just do stuff with it. No. We're shutting this down. So I as a guy, I respected Max for his decision to shut things down with Lorelai. But before with Luke, what are you guys' thoughts on the guys and Lorelai's life this season? If you want to talk about Max, feel free to go in on the situation with Max as well.
I don't care about the other two. Max. I need Max to not show up anymore for Lorelai because I like him as his character. I like him so much that I just don't think that Lorelai deserves him. Like I know that sounds really mean and really bad, but like she can't handle it. She just can't handle that kind of a relationship. She says she wants it and that's great, but to want something is not the same to take action and like take hold of your life and seek those things out because you know what I mean? Like it's so frustrating. I'm so annoyed with that.
Wrong for Lorelai to like want to date Max still, even though she wasn't ready to marry him though. Like, is that really that bad on her end? Like, she's not ready for marriage. She's not ready for the commitment. Like, it's a big change, but she's not like saying that's never going to happen. She's not ready at that given time.
Yeah, but is she ever really going to be ready? Like, is she? Oh, I'm asking the wrong person or the right person.
No,
is she ever really be ready?
My thought.
She's so chaotic.
I agree. Sorry, I didn't cut you off, Michelle. I'm so sorry. My only thought is like, as the guy, like it meant to be a guy. If a person tells you no after proposing, like you propose, right? That person says no. Is the relationship keep going or is it dead?
It's dead.
Same. I agree. I feel like the relationship's dead. And so to be like, well, we can.
I think it also depends on the scenario, but it's like very specific situations. For Lorelai, it's dead.
Amanda, you go speak your mind. You have this space.
It's like I'm trying not to fight
thoughts that you don't want to share. Let it go. Share.
True. I'm thinking it through. Like, if she responded to like I would love to marry you, just not right now. I don't know if their relationship would just be dead. Like, I think
See,
like
that's
Max
okay.
loves her enough to like be like, okay, let's work it out. Let's wait. But I mean, of course they didn't do that. So it's like, but I kind of was like excited to see Max again. But then, what are you gonna do?
Okay, so remind me, please, because I don't remember either this episode or if this ever happened. Did they just drop him off? Like, he sent all of these flowers, right? And that was the end of it? Like, and then we were told after the fact that they're not going to get married? Is that how that happened? I don't remember. Or was there a conversation that they had and we were clued into that conversation, or no?
Um, they were planning the wedding, and then Lorelai and Rory went on that trip.
Yeah, that was it, right?
I think so. I don't remember.
Really? Like, what? That's
I don't
actually
remember.
crazy.
Season 2, I don't remember. I feel like
Yeah.
so much has happened since then in my life and the show. But yeah, so yeah, for me, I was proud of Max. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, Amanda. Like, is it wrong for Lorelai to want to go back to the guy she loves? No, but also it's like, as the other person thinking about the other person, like, do you want to rekindle that, knowing that it didn't end the way you wanted to? I don't know. I wouldn't want to rekindle something that I know the ending, the previous ending, hoping to expect it's gonna be different, will be kind of weird in my opinion. So that's my only thought. But want to wrap up so we can talk about my guy, my favorite character in the show. Because that's the only thing that matters. My favorite character. Luke, right? So Lorelai and Luke's relationship, I'm waiting for them to either one of them have the balls enough to just say they like each other, because it's always this constant flirting. And obviously Luke's not the best communicator, but he has his feelings. Lorelai likes to play coy, but then like she knows she likes Luke, and obviously the dream she had in the beginning, all these different things, but. Mm-hmm. She still chooses to go date other guys because I don't know if she just doesn't think Luke likes her. I don't know what the situation is, but it's just like, I was happy for Luke because it seemed like for most of the other seasons, outside the situation in the first season with that one girl that was his ex, he's been kind of just like pining for Lorelai, just waiting around for her to like choose him or something. And like seeing other guys in her life, he's just like, okay, well, and kind of just like inner jealousy, but not speaking it out loud. Like, I was happy that he met somebody else this season, so that she can see like, hey, I'm not waiting around. Like, I'm not, again, as the guys, I'm like, bro, don't just sit around and wait around. Like, go find somebody else. Like, don't just sit there pining. Like, if you like her, cool, but like, move on. Like, if she's not giving you the time of day, move on. And that was my thought with Luke. I'm like, bro, I'm glad he found his girl Nicole, which I'm not sure where this is gonna go. Obviously, at the last episode, he has a dream himself where Lorelai says, "Don't get engaged." So it's kind of still there, those feelings. But like, I don't know. I'm waiting to see like what happens between these people. Y'all know what happens. I don't know, but like, I was happy that Luke did move on and he's not just like pining over Lorelai. Still, a little bit, still obviously, but like still choosing to date somebody else.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was like refreshing to see, Luke dating another person. I think like we all know it's something's gonna happen eventually. And the way that they ended this season, I feel like we'll find out soon.
Nice.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. I don't believe you.
Sure you don't. You don't.
I don't believe that.
Michelle, any lasting thoughts on Lorelai and Luke, or just Luke himself?
Yeah, they both suck at communicating like everybody else in the show. I do really like Luke, and I'm happy to see him kind of, I don't know, maybe not necessarily move on, because it is like the beginnings of a new relationship. So I'm sure you still have feelings for he still has feelings for Lorelai. That's fine. But you know, I like that it's somebody that's not in the town. You know, I like that it's somebody just kind of different.
Yeah.
So I hope that lasts.
Yeah.
Because
Well, we shall see. Again, I don't know. Amanda knows. You kind of know too, Michelle, but we shall
I
see.
don't know anything after this. I told you I don't know. So I'm saying that. I don't know.
Well, I'm excited to watch season 4. There's 7 seasons, so we are on season 4 now. I'm excited for our next conversation. We went a little long. I do apologize. I want to wrap this up like around 7:30. So I know y'all probably have date nights with your husbands. So
He might have left. I don't know where he went.
but I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Taiwo for being on here as long as you could. But that wraps up our conversation on season 3. Thanks everybody that's watching this. You can drop a coffee mug in the comments if you want. So your thoughts on season 3 of Gilmore Girls. But we are wrapped up. Thanks for another episode of Coffee with Friends.